Hello there, this is Sami Wunder. I am an international level dating and relationship expert for the modern woman who doesn't desire just an amazing relationship, but also an amazing career. So my brand stands for the fiercely successful, fiercely loved woman. And over the last several years, I have helped thousands of women through different means, through private coaching, my group programs, etc., to attract and meet the soulmate of their lives. And in this video, I want to be talking to you about how you can, as a woman, use your feminine energy in order to attract a high-quality, healthy, masculine male. Now, when we talk about feminine energy, I often come across some very common myths around feminine energy that I would like to, at the very start, bust straight away. So, the first common misconception around feminine energy or femininity is that it's about how you look. So, you might have thought, oh, she teaches femininity, so she's wearing pink, but guess what? Your looks, your dresses has little to do with femininity. Yes, of course, if you wear nice dresses and if you have long hair and if you wear high heels, that's always a bonus. But that's not really what feminine energy stands for. Because feminine energy is energy. It's the way we carry ourselves. It's the way we live our lives. That's what femininity is. So femininity, first myth busted, has very little to do with what you dress and what you wear, and more to do with what your energy is. For instance, if you have a woman who is wearing a t-shirt and jeans, she might have way more feminine energy than a woman who is wearing a dress. And this is where the more nuanced feminine energy behaviors come in, which I will be talking to you about later in this video today. Now let's move on to the second common misconception around femininity and feminine energy. It stands for weakness and it's against strength. So we have a common perception in society which is based on incomplete knowledge that a woman who is in her femininity, a woman who is embodying her feminine energy, is bound to be a weak woman, is bound to be a doormat, is bound to be someone who doesn't really have a voice, is bound to be someone who can never speak up, is bound to be someone without opinions, is bound to be someone without a head of her own, she can never make her own decisions. And these kind of perceptions around femininity are really sad from an expert's point of view, because I teach femininity and I know that these kind of perceptions only stem from incomplete knowledge around this topic. So what femininity is all about, and the way I teach it in my programs, especially my Leap into Love program, it's all about softness on the outside and strength on the inside. And of course, you cannot be soft on the outside if you don't feel strong enough on the inside, if you're not grounded, if you're not anchored, if you're not in touch with your core worth. So the only reason why we teach women, when we teach them feminine energy, we teach them softness on the outside, is because that softness must be supported by strength on the inside. And this is something that a lot of people who do not know very well about feminine energy tend to misunderstand about it. So a feminine woman is not just a woman who is inviting and soft and non-controlling on the outside. She's also a woman who knows her worth, knows her value on the inside. She's someone who can stand up for what she believes in. She's someone who can draw very strong boundaries. And the two go together. And this is something I would really like to emphasize, because I think so many amazing women reject this work or do not really dive deep into this work because they carry the misconception that a feminine woman is a weak woman. Oh, she's far from it. She's very, very far from it. She's a woman who doesn't constantly need to show her strength to the outside world because she feels very strong and stable on the inside. And that's why feminine women might look soft on the outside, but they're essentially balanced by strong inner boundaries and strong inner sense of worth. Now, the third misconception, very popular one around feminine energy, is that it is anti-feminism. Now, nothing could be further away from the truth, especially when you look at me, someone who is teaching feminine energy, who has a master's degree, who runs her own multiple six-figure business, travels worldwide independently. It is not possible that feminine energy is a rejection of feminism. It is absolutely not a rejection of feminism, especially when you look at how we are talking about inner strength when it comes to feminine energy. So gone are the times when women were expected to just follow the man and just do everything exactly as he says. This is not what feminine energy teaches you. What feminine energy teaches you is that you can have your amazing career, you can make lots of money, you can be independent, you can be strong, and you can use all those amazing masculine energy qualities that feminism has brought, thankfully so, over the last several years. And you can use all of that masculine energy at your workplace. But when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to romance, when it comes to love, that's where you want to start tuning into your feminine side. In other words, nobody's asking you to give up your strength. Nobody's asking you to give up your career. Nobody's asking you to give up all that amazing masculine energy that you need to have and that you should have in order to pay your bills, help your kids grow up, take them to school, get all the chores done. But at the same time, when it comes to romance and when it comes to love, you want to be a woman who is able to switch into her feminine side, who's able to switch into her feminine energy. So I'm going to go now into the detail of what exactly these feminine, masculine, energetic dynamics are in romantic relationships. But it was really important for me to bust the myths about feminine energy because they really abound. They really abound. And it is important also for me to say, I think, at this juncture, that if you're a woman, you don't have to change yourself. You don't have to become more feminine. I think that's a very masculine way of approaching the topic. I have to change myself and I have to become more feminine. That's not true. As a woman, you are already feminine. Believe it or not, no matter how many masculine energy qualities you have, and I will be talking about the distinction of the two energies in just a moment, as a woman, you naturally have and were born with feminine energy. Yeah, that is something that nature gave you. And over time, a lot of us in the highly masculinized world that we live in, we lose touch with this side of us. Yeah, so let's talk about what masculine energy is and what feminine energy is, and then I'll be able to give you more examples of how women today are very masculinized, not just in their workplace, which is where it's really required, but also in their love lives. Yeah, so masculine energy basically is doing, action oriented. Yeah, it's decision making, it's leading, it's organizing, it's planning. Anything that requires you to get up and do something, to get up and go for something, is masculine energy. Now, feminine energy, on the other hand, is the leaned back, receiving energy. So if masculine energy is the penetrative force, yeah, it's the doing, going forward, or lean in, as Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook would tell you. Leaning back is the feminine energy side of it, which is all about relaxing, receiving, not doing. So masculine is the action-oriented energy and feminine is the being energy, being in the moment, just being, not doing anything. Yeah, and I wanted to give you these definitions because now I think it will really help you to understand why so many successful, strong, amazing women of today have become highly masculinized. Well, we're doing a lot. Yeah, we're required to do a lot. We're required to lead, plan, organize, make lots of money, and that's a real gift that feminism has given us. However, the problem starts and the crisis starts when we take that doing masculine energy into our love life, into our romantic relationships. Because guess what? A masculine man, a man that is in his doing energy, a man who brings you flowers, who gives you the ring, who takes you on dates, he's primarily in his doing energy. He's primarily in his masculine energy. Yeah? And such a man is attracted to a feminine energy woman. So yes, when women ask me, why can't I be in my masculine even in my romantic life? Well, you can be. Nobody can stop you from being that way, but will it work? Will it give you the most amazing relationship of your life? Will it create that kind of passionate, hot romance where your husband or your boyfriend brings you flowers, plans the dates, gets you presents, takes you on holidays, cherishes you, adores you, gives, always cares to listen how you're feeling, supports you? Would you have all of that if you're in your masculine? Probably not. And why not? Because here's the thing. Yeah, masculine men want or feel attracted to feminine energy women. And if you're constantly in your masculine energy in romantic life, I'm not saying don't be in your masculine in your work life, but if you're also bringing that energy into your work, into your romantic life, yeah, then you're going to have a man who is going to be more feminine. Yeah. Now, this is the principle of polarity of energy in relationships. So when we talk about having a hot romantic relationship where you're attracted to your partner, he's attracted to you, you have a great time together, the energy between the couple is great, that's when there is polarity of energies in the relationship. There's masculine and there's feminine. And just like opposites attract, for great sexual chemistry to exist, for a great partnership to exist, you need these two polarity of energies. And that's what's going to attract. Opposites attract. But if you have, or if you are a woman who is not wanting to reconnect with her feminine side and insists on staying in her masculine, what you're going to attract is a more feminine kind of man. And that's great. I have no judgment against more feminine men. I think they're great men. They offer sensitivity, they offer a lot of emotional support to women who are more in their masculine energy. And yet you have to understand that when that is the dynamic in your relationship, he is going to be the more passive one. In other words, those flowers, those dates, those planned holidays, those jewelry gifts, those amazing things that you want that would ideally come from a masculine energy man is going to be missing there in that dynamic. Yeah, because in order for a relationship to thrive, there has to be polarity of energies, which is the existence of opposite energetic charges, masculine, feminine. That means you won't have two masculine, you being masculine and the man being masculine. That's not going to be attractive. That's not going to give you a great romantic relationship. And at the same time, if you're feminine and you have a feminine man, that's also not going to be attractive. Right? That's also not going to bring together a great relationship. What creates a great relationship, a great romantic relationship, is the existence of polarity of energies. And that's why in my entire work, I teach women under the brand of fiercely successful, fiercely loved, that if you can learn as a woman to switch between these two energies, to see how at work, you can be in your hardcore masculine. You can go for what you want. You can take all the actions, take all the decisions. You can lead, you can organize, you can plan. But if you can learn how to switch into your feminine side when it comes to your romantic relationships, you are going to have it all. The grand career and the grand love. Because guess what? Your feminine energy is the key to having that most amazing romantic connection that you have always desired. And you don't need to change yourself for it. It already exists in you. If you were born in a woman's body, you were born with a lot of feminine energy. That is nature's gift to you. And because today, we are required to do so much, to achieve so much, to go for what we want, a lot of us have lost our touch with our feminine side. And that is what I help my clients reconnect with. That is what I help my clients regain touch with. And believe it or not, over 85 engagements since 2016 until August 2017, marriage invitations, amazingly happy women who are living currently the life of their dreams thanks to this knowledge and this work. So before I give you the 3 ways in which you can tune into your feminine side and start living more in your relationship, whether you're married, single, dating, start just living more in your feminine energy when you're around men or when you're dating. I would like to talk a little bit about 2 minutes about Leap into Love, which is my most advanced deep inner work program for the single woman who is really ready to leave the past behind, really ready to leave all the heartbreak behind and create the most amazing dream relationship of her life. Now, this mastermind program was originally sold for thousands of euros, and was exclusively, the material and the resources were exclusively available only for the women who were part of my exclusive mastermind group, just 11 women. But because we all deserve love, and even though everybody cannot afford to do private coaching with me, my team and I decided that we had to find a way and make this material available to a larger number of women, and in that sense we have made it more affordable, way more affordable, at a fraction of what my clients earlier paid for this. And we're going to soon be launching the self-study version of this, so please make sure you are on the wait list, and you will find the link under the video or in the title of the video, so make sure you have access to that. It's the most amazing work of my life so far, over 6 modules, and that's where we go really deep into femininity. We discovered the wounded feminine, the wounded masculine. We talk about the inner child, how to heal that, how to really grow up and take personal responsibility and ownership in your love life, in your relationships. We also understand men, and we understand the process of commitment. And more than anything, I do believe that this program is not just for the woman who wants that amazing relationship. Yes, you shall have that through these materials and through this work. But more than anything else, I believe that this is the work every woman should do for herself. Yeah, the man is just the outcome, the side byproduct of this work, this knowledge that you will gain through this program. So make sure you're on the wait list and you're not missing out on any of the updates that you will be getting as part of Leap into Love launch. Now, I'm going to talk about 3 ways in which you can start being in your feminine energy more often, starting today. So the first way to be more in your feminine is to start letting the man lead in the relationship. Now, I can already hear some voices coming up like, oh, again, are we in the 1920s, and why is the man leading the relationship? Now, I don't want you to think about it from this mental space of equality and feminism, but I want you to go back to what I said earlier in the video about romantic relationships are about polarity of energies. They're about the existence of opposite energies. And if in your dream relationship you have a masculine man who is bringing you flowers and taking you out on the most exotic holidays, caring for you, protecting you, keeping you safe, then you want to turn to letting him be the one who is leading the relationship. Now, what do I mean when I say he's leading the relationship? by leading the relationship, I mean he gets to take the initiative to call you, to text you, to ask you out on the date, and you get to be the feminine one, receiving all the attention, enjoying in it, relishing it, saying yes when it feels good, and letting him be the one who is pushing the relationship forward. Now, a lot of the times women ask me, Sami, when you say, let the man lead, let the man initiate, I feel a bit like it's a bit old-fashioned, or I feel it's a bit disempowering. And I would like to be the woman of today who, when she likes a guy, she can just go up to him, give her number, and ask him out. What's so bad about it? We live in a world of equality. We're modern women. Now, please know that I really, really get this argument, and I am a master's degree myself, and I am very feminist and very modern, and of course I had similar ideas and thoughts when I first started dating men. And here's what I found out, yeah? Romance is not a mental thing. Romance is not something that you create by getting your head stuck in ideas about equality and feminism. Yeah? Romance is something you create from the heart. Romance is an energy that needs emotional, feelingful energy. Yeah, so it's not so mental, and all these ideas around why can't I lead, and why does he have to lead? You know, they go against the universe, they go against nature. By nature, if you see, the peacock, or the male species in nature, is the one that is doing the dance in order to attract the female. Yeah, but when we use all these mental arguments about equality and feminism, we actually forget that we're going against nature. Masculine, feminine energies are nature-oriented. They speak for what nature stands for. Yeah. So in the animal world, in the nature, you know, the female chooses. She leans back and she chooses, whereas the male is the one that is hunting. The male is the one that has action-oriented, leaning forward energy. And this is why it's so important that even though I know the arguments around equality and feminism are really strong, you want to steer away from being so mental about romantic relationships, and you want to start seeing them as gut-level, instinctive, attraction-based things that you cannot be so mental about. Yeah, and every time a woman tells me, isn't it powerful for me to walk up to a guy and give him my number? I tell her that I find it way more powerful when you can lean back and you can believe that if he's really the right one for you, if he's really the one who feels attracted to you, he will be coming to you. That is more powerful. Yeah, it's really how you look at power. You look at power as running behind people, or you look at power as letting people come to you. You look at power as going for what you want, which is definitely amazing for your career and your work life, or you look at power as something where you can attract a great man to you. And feminine energy is all about that. When we let a man lead the relationship, we are letting him be the one in control, and we're the ones leaning back, and we're the ones choosing. In other words, if you don't really like the man, or if you really don't feel anything for him, you know, you have the power to say no, because you're not the one running behind him. You're not the one chasing him. Yeah, this is your power as a feminine woman, that you get to lean back, you let the man take the lead, you let him be the one in control, and you get to choose every step of the way. You have choice. In your feminine energy, you are not a disempowered female. In your feminine energy, quite the opposite. You're very empowered, because every step of the way, someone else is working to please you, and that's hardcore masculine energy. That's a healthy male behavior when a man does that, and high-quality men will always do that. Yeah, because that's what their intrinsic energy is, just like your intrinsic energy is feminine, which we are helping you reconnect with. A masculine man's intrinsic energy is to come after you when he wants you. And you as a feminine get to have a lot of power by knowing that you get to choose every step of the way. Now, some might feel disempowered, but if you can shift your perspective around this, you will actually find that this is very, very empowered, a very empowered and high value way of dating and relating with men. So letting him lead the relationship is all about letting him be the one who's initiating, letting him be the one who is asking for the number, calling you, texting you for most of the times. Now, tip number 2 on how to be more in your feminine around men. The second thing is to start receiving with joy. Now, feminine is all about allowing in. And masculine is all about leaning forward and giving. So when a man, for instance, brings you a present, or takes you out on a date, or brings you flowers, instead of feeling this obligation to give something back to him, to do something for him, receive. Learn the joy of just receiving from men and being happy and being appreciative and being grateful for it without constantly feeling an obligation to give something back. And this is something I find a lot with the clients that I coach, all amazing women, very successful in their careers. They constantly feel like they can't receive. They constantly feel like they must give in order to show a man that they like him or in order to show a man that they love him. And this is where I want to turn around your perspective. When you're in your feminine, you can receive, and you have to remember that men love to give. So when you're in touch with this masculine energy within you, you will always want to lean forward and give and do something for the man. Whereas when you're in your leaned back feminine energy and you're receiving, you will understand that the man in his masculine energy actually enjoys giving to you. And then your job as a feminine woman becomes all about being a gracious receiver, being a happy receiver, being able to enjoy all the pleasures that are being offered to you by the masculine male, by the healthy masculine male. And this is something where a lot of my clients need training, because even from the biggest to the smallest things, whether it comes to receiving a compliment or it comes to a man, allowing a man to drive to them for an hour just to meet them, they find it very hard to receive because they are more in tune with their masculine side, where they constantly feel the need to give, to do, and to constantly refuse a man if he's wanting to give to them. So this is one area, once again, that you can start to retrain, where you are allowing a man to give to you. If he says, "You look gorgeous tonight," instead of saying, "Oh, but I didn't wash my hair," just say, "Thank you, I love it. Yeah, I feel great, thank you for the compliment." Or if he wants to drive to you for 2 hours just to see you, just say, "Oh wow, that's really sweet. I really appreciate it." Instead of fighting him and telling him, "Don't worry, maybe I can drive to you, maybe I can meet you midway." Yeah, all these tendencies. I know, because I also had these tendencies myself. And it was only when I realized how much the masculine heart wants to give and how much the masculine heart feels empowered and feels excited about the prospect of making us women happy. That is when I started truly training the receiver in me. Now, the last tip, of course, there are hundreds of ways, and I could go on forever and ever on the topic of femininity, which I discuss in over 5 hours of trainings in Leap Into Love. Make sure you've signed up on the wait list. The third tip around being more in your feminine energy is to start listening more actively. So a lot of us, we are getting so much done, and we are always, our heads are full of lots of opinions and ideas, and when we're on a date, we somehow feel like we have to make the best impression and we have to show him what a great catch we are. And so what do? We talk. I did this, I did that, and aren't I amazing? I traveled all over the world for my projects, business projects, and I did blah, 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 won so many deals for my company. And while all of that is great, what it actually does is that it firstly puts you into masculine competitive zone with a man, because masculine men are more or less competitive in their energies. It's what male nature is about. And when you start to play this projection image, you start to perform on a date, that's when you become in your masculine energy. You're not anymore in your feminine, because you become very agenda oriented. You have an agenda. You want to make a certain impression. You want to give a certain vision of who you are to this person so that he would like you, or so that he would think a certain way about you. Now that is hardcore masculine energy. Every time we are in this agenda mode, we want something and we do exactly, something to go to get it. That's when we're in masculine energy, and that's when our vibe is really low and the man is really not connecting with our hearts. Yeah, but the way to switch this around, whether it's for a married woman who's watching right now, or if you're a single diva dating, the way to switch this is on your dates to try to be a better listener. Instead of constantly working hard to project a certain kind of image or to project a certain kind of vision of who you are so that he might think that how amazing you are, listen to him, engage with his world. Now this might feel, again, boring. Yeah, if your instincts are around talking a lot, then this experience of listening more might feel boring. But actually, you are going to be creating an amazing experience for a man on this date, or for your husband when he comes back from work, or your boyfriend. So try to be a more attentive listener, because listening, when a man feels heard, when a man feels like you as a woman are a safe space to go to, you will not judge him, you can hear him, you don't need to constantly interrupt a conversation and make it about yourself, or add something to it by constantly saying something, oh, I did this too, and when you can be someone who can just, even if for 5 minutes, be all about him and create that amazing experience, it's very powerful for a man. It's very, very powerful. And this is the magic of feminine energy. Very often, because we are all so highly masculinized, very often feminine energy feels very counterintuitive. Feminine energy can sometimes feel like boring, too still, too calm, too quiet. But actually, in that moment, when you are in your feminine, when you're just being, you are in a much better position to be connecting with a man's heart versus when you're in your masculine energy. Now, I'd like to end this video today by giving you one more tip around femininity. And this is powerful once again, because I think I wasn't about to reveal it, but I literally changed my mind while recording this video for you, because it is a huge part of the work that is there in Leap into Love Mastermind, but I'd like to share it for the good of everybody who's watching this right now. Femininity is about vulnerability. Now, there are so many ways, as I said already, that you can be in your feminine energy, but if I had to identify one way that tops it all, vulnerability would be it. Being vulnerable is being feminine. Now, I'm going to leave you on this note. Vulnerability is a huge topic, again, something I speak about for hours in Leap into Love. But basically, vulnerability is all about getting in touch with your emotional side. So we're all very mental, we're all very opinionated, we all have a lot of ideas, we all read a lot of books, our intellect is very well developed. But how connected we are with our bodies, how connected we are with our feelings, how connected we are with what we feel inside. And what if, as a feminine woman, or as a woman who's learning to be and embody and walk and talk in her feminine energy, what if being in touch with your feelings was the single most powerful thing you could do for yourself and for the man you're dating, you're with, you're married to, you're in a relationship with. And what if that connection with your own self, what if that connection with your own feelings was actually the way to his heart and connecting with his feelings? Now, on that note, I'd like to end. There is a lot of information about vulnerability, especially high-value vulnerability, which is that I discuss in Leap into Love. High-value vulnerability being you don't have to share every single feeling or every single emotional trigger that comes to your heart and mind with your man, or, you know, what is the kind of vulnerability that makes you look high-value versus vulnerability that makes you look low-value or low value or dramatic. Yeah, so all of that juicy stuff is coming on with Leap into Love. Make sure you're on the wait list, and don't forget to join my Facebook group, Wunder Divas. Again, a link will be there at the end of this video. I very much hope that you enjoyed this free training and that you learned the power of understanding energetic dynamics in romantic relationships, and more than anything else, you learned the power you can have in creating the most amazing, most dynamic, most passionate and hot relationship with an amazing man by reconnecting with your own feminine side. I will see you on Wunder Divas and hopefully in Leap into Love, and I send you all my love. You can have the relationship you want. You can be both fiercely successful and fiercely loved, and I believe in every woman's capacity to have and create the most amazing relationship of her life based on this knowledge. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all. Goodbye.